Okay, so today is very different. I'm in a place called Osaius, which is about 400 kilometers east of Vancouver, and I'm sitting outside on a table with an umbrella in the sun. The weather here is much warmer than Vancouver. It's about 20 degrees Celsius. I'm not using my regular equipment, so I'm using a laptop here. So excuse any technical issues. I hope there aren't any, but I just, a minute before I came live here, I had a problem with the software and I kind of managed to fix it. So there you go. Today you don't see the details on my face because this camera is not as detailed as the one I use at home, which is maybe good. You don't see every hair on my face today, but you see the mountains behind me. It's a beautiful place here. Swimming pool on my left. I don't know if you can hear the sound of the water. So what do we have here? Sami, my friend Sami. How is France, Sami? Itamar, Radrad, Stephanie, hello Stephanie. Linda, Shalom David, Sonke, Crystal, wow. All right, so, I was planning to do something different today just because I'm in a different place and it's kind of strange, everything is different. Even sleeping was different. I got a horrible headache last night. I had an ice cream on the way somewhere, and I guess they didn't sell ice cream to anybody for the last year, so it wasn't very fresh. Got a terrible headache, but everything is good this morning, so here we are. So I want to, some of you may know that what I'm going to talk about, especially Itamar, but some years ago, probably 10 years ago, I developed this model. I used to call it the aquarium, and it's not related to the aquarium that I relate to when I said that we are in an aquarium and we look outside. It's a different aquarium. I call it a container. And that's why I called this, the topic of this, this morning, the ability mass. And what I meant by that is that everybody has different abilities. It goes back to our personality. And the abilities I'm talking about today are the abilities to succeed. And the definition of success is of what is defined as success today by most of the people, which is probably money, health, influence, longevity, power, and so on. And the mass, what I meant by that is that the mass, I don't say weight because it's mass, it's an inherited thing, is that the more of those abilities one has, for our model here, the heavier they get with that mass of the ability to navigate this reality. And I'll give you an example of what I mean. When we were kids, we used to play Monopoly. Most of you probably know that game. And I know from my experience that every time we played with the same group, there was always the same winner. Or at least 90% of the time, the same person or two people would win that game. And it didn't matter what you did, they always won. Why? Because they had the ability to play that game properly. They played long term, right? They didn't just play tactics, they played strategy. And in Monopoly, strategy is everything. Because whatever you do at the beginning makes you win or lose at the end. And the same goes for people today, the people that have the ability to win this game. Because this game is just like Monopoly, right? I mean, again, defining success mostly as financial here. And I'll show you something here, a model that, it's not going to look maybe that great because I don't have an iPad. I bought an iPad but didn't arrive yet, so I have to do it all on the iPhone screen, which is kind of small, and I have to do it with my finger. But maybe probably good enough. Okay, so let's do this. All right, switch to the iPhone here. Everything is slow today because I'm, like I said, on this laptop. Okay, there we go. So, all right. So what you see here, really, I'm trying to draw here, not the greatest, but imagine that this whole thing is a container, has a bottom, and the two sides, left and right, are the container, and in that container there is a liquid, and that liquid has such a characteristic that anybody who has good abilities to navigate today's reality will float to the top. And people that don't have the ability to navigate today's reality and not successful, they will sink to the bottom of this thing. So this is the top here, and this is the bottom. Okay? Now, the one I drew here with all those lines is from older periods, let's say 300 years ago. And what I mean by that, you see the horizontal lines that let's start with the vertical line, the vertical lines. Those vertical lines here, they are the lines separating between countries, physical borders. So there is all these countries going widthwise, okay? So let's say this is country number 1 here, this is country number 2, country number 3, number 4, and so on, okay? And then the other lines, the ones that go like this here, horizontally, they separate the classes. What it means here, that for example, in this one here, where I drew just the X now, is the highest classes. So that would be the king of that time, and people that were close to the king. They would be in the higher classes here in every country, okay? And the very poor and people that had nothing, servants, slaves, whatever, they would be at the very bottom here, okay? And as you can see, because of the lines, both the borders, the physical borders, and the lines that separate the classes, they could not go down or up. So if the king was here and his family, it was very unlikely that he would become poor and somehow get to the bottom here. It was impossible. And vice versa. If somebody lived here and they were slaves, it was not possible for them to reach here at the top. It's just everything was locked, right? And that worked for hundreds or maybe even thousands of years, right? We had the king and all the rich people. They were always at the top, and it didn't matter if they were smart. What I mean here, that the ability to float or sink did not really apply, because there were those lines that kept them in place. But now let's take a new one, okay? And let's see if I can do that. Just give me a minute. So I'll start a new note here, okay? And okay, so there we go. So now imagine, again, we take the same container, okay? We have the same container, we fill it up with the same liquid, the same fluid, but this time we don't have the lines, we don't have the physical borders, because today in 2022, if you have the money, if you are very rich, I would say beside maybe 3 or 4 countries in the world, you can go and live anywhere you want. Yeah, it's funny, in front of me it says live. So those vertical lines don't exist anymore for rich people, right? They can go anywhere. There's also no horizontal lines. Why? Because if you are, I don't know, a very, very poor child born in some third world country, but you turn out, when you are 15 or 12 or whatever, you turn out to be a genius in mathematics or computer science or whatever, because everybody has access to the internet, you will very quickly reach the top here, right? Even though if you were at the bottom, there's nothing to stop you from reaching the top. And the same applies the other way. If your parents or your grandparents were very, very rich, but after 2-3 generations, the kids blew the money, there's nothing left, well, they will sink to the bottom if they don't have the ability to float. Because the liquid, again, in here, imagine, it will float the people that have the right mass, the right ability in today's environment to succeed. And the problem with that is that as long as we had those lines, right, we had those horizontal and vertical, vertical lines like this. Very hard to do it on the iPhone. So those people were kept in place. It didn't matter if they were smart, stupid, capable, not capable. They always stayed in the same spot, both as far as the class and as far as the country, because you couldn't really get, I guess, a visa to go from Rome to some other place. It wasn't so simple. Okay, I'll take that iPhone out of here. Go back to here. All right. So what I'm saying is that in essence, even though I drew that 10 years ago, it became the reality of today. Today, most of the suffering comes from the fact that many countries are capitalistic, so that again, that's another line that was there that was kind of keeping people on social benefits or whatever and artificially floating them up. But this is all disappearing because we have today in the modern world progressive maybe it's not the right word, but successful countries are capitalistic supposedly because they are the most efficient and they generate the most product per person and so on and so on. And as a result, and we talked about that before, people have different personalities. So people with the wrong personality for today, it's a fantastic personality. Maybe that 200 years ago was the best personality to have, but today it doesn't work. And what do? This is really not a sustainable situation because many people sink to the bottom, and when you sink to the bottom, it's very hard to come up. The more you sink, the harder it is to float. Especially if you don't have the skills, you don't have that ability. Mass is not right. Your mass is heavy and you sink. And how I want to summarize this and go to the next topic is that it all boils down to you understanding your personality and then being able to project it on the reality where you live, where you are, your circumstances, and so on and so on and so on. And if you do that, you will be able to actually maybe pull yourself out of there. Because before you can pull yourself up from the bottom, you have to understand that you are at the bottom and what are the reasons why you are at the bottom. Right? Because if you don't know that, then you just, maybe you go and you try drugs or do other things to lift yourself. But that doesn't really do anything good. It just fixes you harder at the bottom at the end of the day. You have to understand the whole big picture and then deal with the circumstances and deal with your personality. And most people have that ability. It's just that they don't know how to do it. Okay, I may actually, again, I may create a program for that because I can see it from outside much better than people can see it from inside. It's just I don't see inside myself either. It's very tough. Other people tell me. Like I have a friend here that we arrived together to, his name is Mikael. He's not here right now. He went swimming, and I'll tell you a story about him. He's a therapist. He does shiatsu, but he does mostly psychological work, like spiritual work. He's very, very capable and very intuitive. He's an amazing guy. And, he's always tired in the day. He works very hard. But we slept together here, and I could hear that he cannot sleep. He snores and he wakes up. He snores and he wakes up. I think it's called sleep apnea, whatever it is. And I told him, I said, listen, you have to deal with it. Either you lose weight, so you don't have this kind of interference here in your throat, or you have to buy this machine. There is a machine that I know people have that they breathe. And he was shocked. And he's a therapist. He didn't know, right? So somebody else can tell you things you don't know. Usually how I deal with it, I sleep with the iPhone and I record the whole night to make sure that I don't do anything at night that I'm not aware of. But anyway, so it's much easier for somebody from outside, somebody who can see the big picture, to help you get out from that bottom. And many people sank to that bottom these days, and they don't really understand why and where they are. So this is why. This is the model. The next thing I want to talk about is reality. And that's why I also brought Mikael here, because he told me a story this morning. And I know Mikael is very amazing that way. Like he will look at the bird, like, crow, whatever, that's quite far, sitting on a tree. And he would say, you know what? I want that one to come here. And the bird will fly actually and come and sit in front of him. It's things that... And this morning what he told me a story. And from that story, I'll come to the topic I want to talk about. He was in California, I think last year, with his wife. And whenever he goes, he's a therapist, and wherever he goes, he attracts people that need help, because he can help in many ways. And his wife always says, make sure you don't heal any people, because we're on vacation, let's have a vacation, but that doesn't work. So he was sitting on a beach, and he saw this woman walking, and she was like really, how do you say? She couldn't walk very well because she had a problem with the leg. And as she walked, she actually came and sat beside him. And he said, maybe I can help you. I'm a therapist. To make a long story short, he said, let me touch you, because he has that ability. When he touches somebody with the hand, he can actually sense what's wrong in their body, and he can also see beyond, like a psychic, right? And he said to her, he touched her, and he said to her, your mother died. And she said, yes, the funeral was yesterday. How do you know? Well, he says, she gave you this piece of jewelry before she died, in secret. And she says, yes, because she didn't want my siblings to know that was just for me, and so on and so on. How did you know that? Well, see, he knows, right? And that's what I want to talk about, like, how does he know? And then he said to her, you feel that guilt, whatever, And after that conversation, she got up and she was 100% fine. There was nothing wrong with her. And, for us, we look at it and we say, well, this is either magic or coincidence or whatever. We always find an explanation. And I will give you another one. It's another friend of mine who is zero, like if you try to define that person, his name is Conrad, by spirituality, then you put zero there. But he's a very practical guy, he can cut trees and he can move rocks and but at some point in his life, he had a child born. This is like probably 30 years ago, 25, and that child that was born was both mentally and physically, not okay. And if you call it autistic or whatever, but to the extreme. And that changed both him and his life, and his wife, because they started to look at more than just the physical aspect of reality. They were forced to, because the physical is not very good. So you start to look at other things, how to explain or how to understand why my child is like that, and how to deal with it. And the child, by the way, was extremely spiritual, extremely connected. That's what happens. Many autistic children, people have abilities that we don't understand, right? Anyway, he was driving with his wife one day on a road, on a highway, where there's only two lanes, one going that way and one going that way. And all of a sudden, somebody came out from the lane that was coming towards him and started to pass and going straight towards them, like for a head-on collision, and each one going like 100, 120 kilometers per hour. So you're looking at 240 kilometers an hour hitting a wall, which nobody would survive, right? And he tells me that it was like, say, 3-4 seconds before they would collide, and there was no way to go to the side, whatever, there was something there that you couldn't get off the road. And the next thing that happened, he says, that they were driving, pay attention, reality basically switched. They were going to collide in 3 seconds, and then the picture changed, and the next thing, they were driving in the right lane, there were no cars around, and they were 9 or 10 kilometers ahead of where they were before, because he knows the road. And he wasn't alone. Like, you can say, well, maybe he was dreaming, but he was with his wife. And both of them, like I said, they are not type of people that, believe in any miracles. And they were 10 kilometers forward, they were in the right lane, and there was no other cars. And, you look at it, and usually people say either, it's some kind of a story that never happened, or they were dreaming, but no, this is real. And why it is real is because reality is not continuous, is not linear. And the mistake most of us make, we think that in order to change reality, we have to start from where we are. And it's not. Where you are is one reality, and where you can be in the next second is a totally different reality. It's just that our mind, our brain connects it and makes it into a linear stream, just like in a movie. So everything goes in sequence because this is how we understand it. But the truth is there is no sequence. Anything can happen in reality. That's why I always talk about that sharp turn, because when you make a sharp turn, you actually break that sequence. So sometimes that sharp turn is made for you, just like what happened to Conrad, right? Now I'll go into the real main topic why I brought all these stories up here. And I'll use the iPhone again just to remind you, because most of you know this concept that I have, and today I changed it. Okay, so let me just get the screen here again. All right. So I'm going to switch to the iPhone. I don't have my picture in it, picture, but it's just too complicated to do it here in the motel. All right, so here we are again. So if you remember, I used to draw that line, and I said, okay, I'm drawing a line right now on the screen. This is a phone. And I used to ask you, did I draw that line? And everybody says yes. And I said, no, I didn't draw that line, because all I did, I just moved my finger across the screen and activated certain sensors, and then the iPhone, the computer that's in it, right, drew that line according to where it sensed my finger. So I didn't really draw that line. And I use that as a metaphor to say that this is how you create reality. You don't really create the reality physically. You just draw it, and then the universe, God, call it whatever you like, collective consciousness, comes back and draws the line. But it happens in real time, so you don't really see it. You think that you do it, but you don't. The thing is that this line that I'm drawing here is a logical line coming from your mind. And what happens is there is another line. I cannot do it for you. Actually, I do. I can change the color. Give me a second. I'll change the color here. Let's see how we do that. There we go. Okay, so now there's another line here. Okay? And that line comes from your subconscious. Both of them go to the same place, which is the collective consciousness, which in turn sends you back your reality. But the reality is a mix of these two lines. Okay? One comes from your mind, your brain, your logical brain. One comes from your subconscious you're not aware of. And if they can actually block each other. What it means is that if your logical mind says, I want to have $1 million tomorrow, and you try to manifest it, well, comes your subconscious line here and says, you are full of what. You cannot have $1 million tomorrow, and you know it. You don't believe it, so how do you want? And then this reality is not created because they negate each other. And vice versa. The same thing works the other way around. If the subconscious comes up with some crazy thing that it wants to manifest for you, but you are very stiff, not flexible, don't believe in anything, well, then this line comes and says, no, this is not for us. Leave it for the crazy people. We don't manifest things like this. We only do the normal stuff. We have coffee in the morning, we have a meeting at 10, and we have a structure here. And then again, you cannot manifest it. And that's why in reality transurfing, it says you have to unite the mind and the heart, right? So this is the reason you have to unite. And most people have a very hard time to do that. And why I brought the stories from Michael and Conrad is that both of them have the ability. They don't have a problem like most of us have, where the subconscious is stopping or blocking them. No. The subconscious for them creates that reality where that woman came to him for help, or where Conrad got to a different spot on the highway. But because they changed, they are not blocking it anymore with their mind, because Conrad, his mind got much more flexible after he had that son, and he started to believe in anything, and he didn't block that. Otherwise, he would have blocked that, he would get killed. And Michael, because he's very spiritual, he also doesn't block these things. So his subconscious creates these realities for him, because the subconscious likes to do interesting stuff. And he, because he doesn't have that block in his head that these things cannot happen, he believes that they can happen, then he gets, both of them got those two, the mind and the heart, to unite, and actually that reality came out here, and this is what happened. So I hope this helps you kind of to understand, especially people from reality transurfing, what does it mean uniting heart and mind. And I'll give you one more drawing, show you another situation. Okay, let's get a new one here. So, all right. There are people, and I talked about it probably in a number of my videos, there are people who don't have sometimes very strong either mind or subconscious. So if you take the extreme, very cruel, bad people, I always go back to Hitler, right? If you look at them, they only have the top, okay, that's the wrong color, but it doesn't matter. That's the mind line. They don't have the subconscious, which is like, more of a hard thing. He didn't have it. That's why he could kill people and it didn't bother him. But because he didn't have that, his reality creation did not need it. It wasn't even there to block or do anything. That's why he succeeded to execute everything that he wanted just with his mind. He didn't have to use his heart because the heart did not go there and block it. You see? So people that have a very strong mind but have no emotions, there's few people, there's always people like that, and you look especially like another one like this would be, for example, maybe you don't know the history, but Stalin, he was the leader of Russia between 20-something up to 1954, I think, where he died. And he killed more Russians than the Germans did in all the Second World War. Okay? Just because he couldn't care less. He was killing people just because he didn't like the color of their hair or whatever. He said, kill that guy. And he didn't, and he created the reality he wanted. He was the leader of Russia, like I said, for all these years, probably more, something like 30 years or more. And nobody could touch him because he created the reality that he wanted at that level, just because he didn't have any conscious, call it conscious here, to block him. He did whatever his mind wanted to do, And it same applies the other way around. There are some people that are extremely spiritual, and we sometimes consider them like not normal or crazy or whatever. Their mind is not in the way at all, and they can manifest anything. But usually those people, they live in some places we don't hear about them. I've seen once, let me just switch back so you don't forget what I look like. I read somewhere, I saw a video, I think, about somebody in India that hasn't eaten for 30 days or more. He didn't eat for a year and didn't drink for a few months, and they put him in a hospital to test to see if this is real, and it turned out it was real. So this kind of a person, because he doesn't have a mind to block this unexplainable stuff, they can actually manifest this kind of a thing. And this is all real. This is not stories. For us, for many people, it's like, that's probably somebody just fabricated or, No, it is real. And the reason for it is what I explained here. And again, I'm not saying that you're going to wake up tomorrow and just because you know it, you'll be able to do it. But I think it will help you quite a bit to understand how this whole thing works. Right? All right, let's go here and see what we have on the feed here. I actually changed the color. Let's see if I can bring it on the screen so you can see it, because last time it was all black on black. So let's say Sonke here. She says, how are you? Let's put it on. Yeah, there you go. Now you can see it. Good. I'm mastering this software thing. All right. Okay. David, Shalom Shlomo and friends. Greeting from Delaware, USA. Hope everyone is doing well. Okay, I thought you were in Israel. Linda, Stephanie, Ridrad, Itamar. Let's see how you look on the screen here. Very nice. But knowing you're a busy guy, you're probably gone by now. Okay, Sarah, hello. Let's put it up here. Is the secret our awareness? If so, why did you label it as a secret and was hesitant about sharing it? When awareness is all you talk about anyway. Thanks. Okay. Going back to the... I know I'm making very many people frustrated. Actually, I even get people writing to me and telling me that I'm kind of playing games about the trigger. say it, not say it. But believe me, it's for a very good reason. And when you hear it at the end, you will understand the whole thing. So, but let me explain again. It has nothing to do with awareness. What I'm saying is, regarding that secret, okay, is that there is a certain situation when you try to do something, like, for example, and this is what we are talking about, taking nothingness and making it into somethingness, which is what God did in this reality. Came from nothing and created all this, whether it's a dream or simulation, call it whatever you like. It doesn't really matter. The secret works in any case. Again, it's secret. It's something you know. It's the hidden in the obvious, okay? That's what the secret is. But when you try to create something like that, like I said, from nothingness into somethingness, there are some obstacles or impossibilities. And they apply to God as well, not just to humans. God cannot overcome those obstacles because it's just not possible to do. The only way God can overcome it is by blinding you and me not to see it. But He cannot make it disappear. The problem is always there, or the impossibility is always there. So like I said, the only way, if you take something like nothing and make something out of it, am I in focus here? Well, I hope so. So because of that, and again, it doesn't matter if it's God or Big Bang, it's totally irrelevant. The problem is always there, okay? So the secret I'm talking about is that fact, that thing that once you understand it, you will instantly have, whether you like it or not, to believe that this is either a simulation or a dream or something like that, and somebody created it. You will have to believe it because there will be no other way. So this is what the secret is. It's nothing to do with awareness and love and any of that. Okay? And I think I told you enough. You should be able to figure out by yourself, but it looks like this is a really tough one because it's too obvious. All right. So let's go on here. Krista, the first time you are watching live. Wow, you've been in touch with me for a few years now. How do we take that out of here? There we go. Okay, perfect surroundings. Okay, yeah, I agree. I really enjoy this place. It's beautiful. Takes 6 hours to get here driving, but it's worth it. I'll be here till Monday. Jude from South Africa. Hi, Jude. Hey, Konstantinos. You've been waiting for me to start. Well, here I am. Hello from India, Isaac. Isaac? I guess Isaac. Danieli, Meir Moshe. Meir Moshe! Wow! How are you doing? I was thinking about you a couple days ago. I hope that things are really going well for you. I think you deserve it. Mark. Hey, Mark. I've never seen a picture of you. Now I can see a picture here. Always wondered what you look like. A very interesting person. Natosha. Rosie. Hello, Rosie. So let's see if there are any questions here. David said that I'm handsome. Thank you. I'm especially handsome when you don't see the details, like all my different things. No. Handsome is how you view yourself. You like yourself and you like what you're doing, and you don't get into any what we call in Israel shtick, like nonsense. Then you're always handsome. Hey, Sabrina. What is the latest on pulling the trigger? Okay, we just talked about it. So this is what Mark is asking. What is the latest of pulling the trigger, and what events does your psychic friend believe must come to pass before we get the next instructions? Well, I don't think you will get instructions. It will come all from within you. Because if you get instructions, you are no longer free will consciousness, right? There's no instructions. You'll get some instructions from me, but this is not really instructions. Camden, we're gonna be talking soon. Hello everybody, beautiful day. Okay, let's see. Hello everybody, beautiful day here in Indiana. Looks great there with the sunlight and mountains in the background. Yes, it's fantastic. Yeah, first when Mikael said let's go for a few days on a trip, I said, I have this Sunday life, I cannot go, I have a commitment, I tell people, I call that Shlomo on Sundays. But then I said, let me think about it. And then I went to sleep. That was Thursday night, because we were going to leave on Saturday. And I said to myself, here is reality giving you an opportunity on a trade to do exactly what you preach every Sunday for people to create change, to do new things. And here comes to you this same opportunity and you're trying to push it away. And I said, that's nonsense. So I got out of bed and I set up my laptop and everything in the living room, and I created this portable studio. Took me till midnight. I saw that everything works, and I sent a message to Mikael. I said, we are going Saturday. But you see, you have to have that ability to sometimes look at yourself and see how stupid you are when you preach something and you do something exactly opposite. Because I was not going to go. It's uncomfortable in a hotel. I'm going to sit there and do my Sunday. I'm so comfortable and used to do it from my studio at home. But when you do it, like I said, the universe will always reward you. And my reward is being here with the mountains, and I'm going to go now for a hike, and it's amazing. But I needed to do that flip, which was very hard. And sometimes we just don't do it because we don't see it. So I was very fortunate. Somehow I saw all of a sudden that I'm being stupid. Okay, what else do we have here? David is asking, let's see. Is it more effective to train your conscious or subconscious mind to raise the ceiling of your limiting beliefs? Or would it be better to take radical action in the direction of the outcome we desire? This is tough questions. Because if you want to train your conscious or subconscious, what tools are you going to use to train it? You have to use your conscious to train your conscious. And it's not very easy. It's one of these things that it's like trying to pull yourself by pulling your hair when you drown in the water. If you're drowning, you try to pull yourself by pulling your hair. It doesn't work, right? Because you're in the water. If you pull, it doesn't do anything. You need to stand somewhere else to pull. Only somebody else can grab you by the hair and pull you out of the water. And this is the same situation. You're trying to change things using yourself to change yourself. So again, either you find a coach or somebody, a mentor that can work with you and can actually pull your hair from outside the water, or you have to either meditate or focus or think and start to look at yourself from outside. Like I always say, go up to the control tower which is higher from your conscious or subconscious or everything, because you as a consciousness are actually out of all these things. It's just that you don't know that. But if you focus on it, you will be able to get out and see these things, and then you don't need to train anything. There's no training here. This is not like a muscle. This is either you see it or you don't see it. As soon as you see it, it's done. There's no training. If you don't see it, it's not done. You can train as much as you want. It's a black and white thing. All right. Hi from Istanbul. I love Turkey. Just was talking about it. I was there a few weeks, some years ago, and I had an unbelievable adventure. And I love the Turkish people because where I went, nobody spoke English, and I don't speak Turkish. And without understanding each other, they helped me straight from their heart. And I love the Turkish food too. So, hi from Istanbul. New here. Last week was very, very tough one. I literally... Okay, wait a minute. Let me put it on the screen. I mean, this is not secret if you put it publicly here. So I was literally devoured of you. Oh, I literally devoured your videos. It resonated so much. I decided to take action to create vessels, hopefully to bring days... Oops, it went away. Let's bring it back. To bring to brighter days. Sorry. Thank you. You are very welcome. I hope that everybody gets brighter days here after watching my videos, because this is the purpose, right? I don't do it for any other purpose. I don't care about how many subscribers I have or any of that. It's really not important. Sarah, I see that you hope that you're not dumb. I don't like questions like this. I'm just kidding. I hope I'm not dumb for still not understanding what the secret is. Yeah, well, you're among another 10,000 people, so you cannot be dumb. It's not like you're the only one that don't understand and everybody here understands. Are you planning on explaining what it is for simple-minded people like me? I feel like I need to know. I will. Just give me a little bit more time. I'm going to do it right here on this Sunday. Strawberry. Don't know if you remember me. Of course I remember you. Strawberry Lolly. You know, a name like this I'll always remember. And you bought one of my drop of youth bottles some years ago. Yeah, that was... I hope maybe you can write down here what it did for you or it didn't. Like, because this is all spiritual, you know, these things, drop of youth and healing olive. Hola, Sim77, I guess you're from somewhere in South America if you say hola. Hologram. Linda C, Sharp Terran. Well, I did Sharp Terran, you see, I came here. And Sonke saying to me, listen to what the universe has to offer. I know. You have much better antennas than me to listen to the universe. Yeah. I am kind of blocked because if I could listen to the universe, I would probably change this reality in 20 seconds. Okay, Natosha, let's see. Natosha has a question. In your experience, is the best way to sharp turn to just start claiming the new reality you wish to live? Affirmation, visualizations. The cleaning people are coming here for the room. Just a second, I'll bring it back. Visualization, faith in the new story, etc. Essentially claiming the God state. In your experience, the best way to sharp turn to just start claiming. Well, anything, sharp turn means sharp turn. So if you're going west, you're going to go east, or you're going to go north, or you're going to go south. This is sharp turn, right? It doesn't matter what it is, as long as it's totally different from what you did 1 second ago. And, I cannot tell you what it is. It just has to be very different from what you are doing. And that will change your reality, whether you like it or not. 100%. So if you jump on a plane today, if you live in North America and you go to some place in Africa, then, as long as the flight takes 9 hours, you will have a very, very, very different reality. And that's a sharp turn, and you can do it in many ways, in many different circumstances, but that's what I mean by sharp turn. It's not nothing specific. All right, let's see what else is questions here. Oh, I lose the cursor here on the sun is actually on the screen, so I cannot really see very well. But that's okay. It's all good. Cambies. Hello, there is an exercise called Heart and Mind Coherence, explained by Dr. Greg Burden. Okay. I know both of them very well. And I used to listen to them quite a bit. And again, I don't believe there's exercises for these things, and no, the only thing I can say about any of this this kind of books, videos by people like those two, for example, right? Let me put that back so I can talk about it. There we go. So exercise. So either by Dr. Dispenza or Greg Braden. The thing is, again, I'm not trying to go into competition with these people or to say, that I know more or they know. It's not the point. The point is, again, from my very subjective perspective, is that I believe that there is a big puzzle and it's got many, many different pieces. And all these people, whether it's those two or Vadim Zeland with reality transurfing or anybody that's out there, they see only few pieces, and they are very, very good at those pieces. They are extremely good in the pieces that they see. They developed those areas of the puzzle to a point where they are masters of it. And it's great because that puzzle is a reality. But I see myself as somebody that sees the whole puzzle. So I may not be as good in specifics, but I see the whole picture, and I don't believe that they do. So this is my answer to these things, and that's why I never get into details with these things, because it is not relevant. Okay, we have one more question here. I keep losing the cursor here because I cannot see the screen. So let me just find my cursor. Okay, there we go. So Strawberry Roll is saying, no, okay, I have to bring it back again. Just give me a second. All right, so I'll try. Oh, I see. It doesn't go across. Okay. I can't say whether or not the actual drop of youth did anything, but the action I took to buy it jump-started my manifestation journey, and I have come leaps and bounds since then. So thank you, Shlomo. Well, you know, reality is like I said, it always delivers things in a way that looks totally natural to you, has nothing to do with what you did. But, you know, as long as it works, it doesn't matter how it works. Zebnem, I don't know how to pronounce that, with the S with the thing at the bottom. I know it's not any language that I know. I know Polish, I know Russian, I know Hebrew, I know English, but I can't. Thank you, Strawberry Lolly. Thank you for kind words. I hope your path will take you to Istanbul again someday. You know what? I actually probably maybe there very soon, because now Turkish started to fly to Tel Aviv from Vancouver via Istanbul. So I love to go. I like the airport there too. So I may be in Turkey very soon. David, correct, tower. That helps. Thank you. All right, let's see where we are here time-wise. I didn't bring any of the questions from the blog because I don't think there were any new questions. Actually, it surprises me that you people don't post any questions on the blog. I will put the link again at the bottom here later today. I'll put the link to the music. Anybody that didn't download the music yet, which I highly recommend, it has some reality-changing abilities. And okay, I'll post those two links. And next Sunday I will go strictly into the secret thing, like into the God, biblical secrets. Like I'll be a different Shlomo. Like I maybe even dress in a way that suits that kind of a theme. Yes, please link the music again. I will do that. Patricia. Okay, let's see. Patricia is asking a question here. Let me bring it up here. Okay. One of your videos you talked about visualization. You wrote something down and said it aloud. This sounds like a technique. Do you still recommend it as a useful activity? I talked about visualization. You wrote something down and said it. Oh, well, this is not visualization, okay? Don't confuse it with visualization. It's two different things. What I was talking about is when you are down on yourself and you feel that you are worthless and you cannot succeed and you know you don't have any abilities and so on and so on and so on. And I was in that situation. And you know, the mind is a wonderful tool. Sometimes when it starts to work against you, all these wonderful abilities go against you. And what happens is your subconscious, to which you have no access, starts to believe all these things, and then your life becomes hell. So what I said is that if you take a piece of paper and you write down on it all the good things about you, and you always will find good things about yourself. Like forget about the bad things. You know, I 20 years ago I managed to do this. 10 years ago I put together this company and I sold it and I made lots of money. Okay, 5 years ago, you know, I managed to save somebody's life and so on. And you write those things and then read it to yourself aloud. It's very important to read it aloud, and you don't have to visualize anything. Okay, you can have a blank screen. It doesn't really matter. And just read it to yourself so that your subconscious can hear it from outside, because it doesn't want to listen from you. And if you read it for a week, two or three times a day to yourself, your subconscious will stop thinking that you are useless. Okay? It will start saying, well, wait a minute, he's right. We did all these things, and we are quite good. So there's no reason why we should be at the bottom of this aquarium, this container. Okay? So that's what I meant. It's nothing to do with visualization. Next time I'll bring a mouse. This is really tough. Okay. So this is for Patricia and Sarah. How does the music have reality changing abilities? Do you mean like high frequency? No. This is science. I'm not dealing with science. Okay? There's no frequencies. There's no ability. I mean, there's no, in my opinion, all this business with frequencies is total nonsense. Okay, frequencies has to do with either sound or light or radio waves, but has nothing to do with human beings. Okay, so what I mean by music is one of the most powerful tools to connect to your emotions. Okay, and both music and emotions have nothing to do with waves and frequencies and science. This is all the domain of spirituality, call it, okay? A domain of our part, that the sixth sense. Okay, so putting any labels on it that have to do with the engineering on science or any of that is wrong. Okay, so the music is just, either you listen to it and it makes you cry or feel something, or it doesn't do anything. Then look for different music. I hope I explain myself. Sometimes I may be a little bit direct, Let's see what else is. David says, thank you for getting outside your comfort zone to live stream from the hotel today. Great experience to all of us. Well, I did it in a way also that was part of my message. And I'm happy, David, that you got it that way. David, you are very good. When I met you first, a few months ago, when we had this meeting on Life, Talk for Life, I underestimated you a little bit, and I make mistakes. So here is, I apologize. Zebnem again. In reference to what you said, I was fighting against something for so long, like a decade, and just let go suddenly to make a sharp turn. Let me tell you a story about that. Zebnem? I hope I pronounce your name properly. It's a funny thing you just said here. I have a friend. He's a rich guy. He's a chain of coffee shops here in British Columbia. And I met him at a party one day, some fundraising party, and I looked at him, and he looked really disturbed and agitated and sad. And I said, I think, Peter, what happened? He says, you don't believe this. I have this person owes me $40,000, and I'm in court now for a year. It's already costing me more than $40,000, and I cannot get this resolved. And it really ruins my life. And I said to him, Peter, I don't know your net worth, but $40,000 for you is probably like $1 for some other guy. Why don't you walk away from it? Just write it off. Like, why are you fighting? What is in it? Okay, so you're going to win, and then what? And he looked at me, maybe for a minute. He didn't say anything, and then he hugged me, and he said, wow, I never thought of that. I'm going to do it first thing tomorrow morning. There you go. So it's similar to what you're saying here, sharp turn. Sometimes people don't see right in front of them. And it's crazy. I myself walked away from, I never told that story, but I walked away from over $30 million. Just because I thought my life was worth more than that. All right. We have been here, let's see. We have been here for 55 minutes. Only 26 participants today. That's kind of low, but it doesn't matter. It's the quality, it's not the quantity, and I think you are amazing people. I would really love to have you all in a room and talking. It would be a different experience. One day we'll do it. One day we'll do it. So I hope the it's not energy, it's, I call it spiritual vitality that I radiated today got to you, and you will be able to, it will be able to keep you up there up until next Sunday. So all the best to you. You're very welcome, Natosha. Linda, thank you. And we will see each other next Sunday, and I think there will be a video this week beside a real video as well this week, and it will have to do with the book and the secret and all that. So all the best to you, and yes, James, you're very welcome. I'll see you next Sunday. All the best to you.